Right? What's the right thing to do on the Sabbath day? Should we do what's good, or should we do harm? Should we save life, or should we destroy it? Come on. What is this all about? Why does God give us a day of rest? Was it to harm us? Was it to burden us? Was it to lay on us a heavy load so that all of us can walk around on Sunday and be like, well, I can't do a lot of stuff today? No. It's because God knows you're weary and you're heavy laden. He knows. He knows that the fallen world in which you inhabit is a hard place to live. And you need rest. He knows that Israel, when they came out of Egypt, when we came out of Egypt under slavery and entered His dominion, His kingdom, that He is not like Pharaoh. Jesus says, stretch out your hand, and the man's made whole. I dare you to show me the work that Jesus does. And even if He had done work, this is what we might call a duty of necessity in our confession. These are just things that have to be done. Right? Unfortunately, criminals don't take Sunday off. I wish they did. I wish criminals were all like, well, today's the Lord's Day, so let's not rob anybody. They don't. In fact, they may say, hey, those Christians are at church. Not to make you paranoid. Right? Babies are born on Sundays. People get sick and need hospital on Sundays. Right? There are things that just have to happen. And we can do those things that are necessary. But Christian, what I'm asking you, and what I'm begging you to do is to ask yourself, is any of my activity that I'm participating in on the Lord's Day preventing somebody else from the opportunity to worship? Can it be put off till tomorrow? That's the question. Now, we get all sorts of problems with this when we talk about this issue at our presbytery level, and we're going to presbytery here in a couple weeks, right? Can I go out and play catch in the backyard with my kid? I don't think that's the issue. Right? The issue is your activity preventing you or someone you know from participating in worship if they choose? Right? Are you saying, well, church is at 10, and the Hawks kick off at 10. That's what's going on here. Jesus is looking at the Pharisees, and He's saying, look, don't you get it? This man with his withered hand, he can't go into the temple. He can't participate in worship because he's blemished. And I can make him whole and restore him. That's not work. That's exactly what the Sabbath day is for. It's to restore your soul. And so He heals the man. He does what is right and what is good, because that's what God is all about. And the Pharisees are filled with fury. In Matthew and Mark's telling of this, they add something to the end. What they might do to Jesus is what they might do to Jesus to destroy Him. In other words, they violate what Jesus exactly says. When Jesus says to save life or to destroy it, they go out on the Sabbath day and talk about what they're going to do to get Jesus out of the picture. You see, but that's okay on the Sabbath day. But healing a man or plucking a few heads of grain so you can have a snack on your way either to or from church, that's not okay. What I want you to grab onto, and hold on, and I know I'm a little scattered this morning, is that Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath. What that means is that you are given a day, right? We as Christians celebrate the first day of the week, as I shared with the kids, right? Because it's the day that Jesus rose from the dead. Right? It's the daybreak of the new creation. Something new has come in the resurrection of Jesus, and a new creation is breaking out. That's why Christians from the late first century, so far as we know, and maybe earlier than that, begin to worship on the first day of the week and no longer the last day of the week. This has been going on for a long, long time, and the reason has everything to do with the resurrection. With the resurrection. Everything to do with the resurrection. And so what I want you to understand and what I want you to grab onto today is that we worship because Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath. And that today is to be a day of rest for you. A day of rest. It's also to be a day for worship. Because Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath, and we give our worship to the one who is Lord of the day. But one more thing, it's a day to do what is right and good, to serve others. These are the uses of the Sabbath for the Christian. Because God doesn't want you to be burdened and heavy laden. Instead, he wants you to find your rest in Jesus. He wants you to rest in Jesus, in his love and in his grace and in his mercy. Jesus who stands in and for you and defends you. Jesus who gives his life for you, that you may indeed find rest in his name.